Religious and heritage literacy. Heritage literacy is an explanation of how people transfer literacy knowledge from generation to generation and how certain practices, tools, and concepts are adopted, or alienated from use, depending on the context. As a young girl, I was always a fast learner. Maybe it was because of school, or maybe it was because of television. But I know it was definitely because of my family and church. Ever since I was a baby, I have been attending church every Sunday with my family. And every Sunday, my parents taught me new things that my siblings and I adapted that showed us the value of reading and writing and paying attention to a lesson. And by doing those things, they were able to keep the family tradition of continuing to take your kids to church and keeping the religious literacy traditions. The setting starts off at my house, which leads us to the car, then to an urban church in Brandon, Florida, and finally to my grandmother's house. The church is the First Baptist Church of Progress Village, where everyone knows everyone and everyone is expected to believe in one thing: God. The church is surrounded by a plethora of trees, just like a forest, and once inside, there are about 100 rows to sit in, if not more. The carpet matches the seats, both of them plastered in magenta. The pulpit sits on top of the stairs, above everyone else, allowing the pastor to scroll down on everyone in attendance. And there are two huge projecting screens sitting on both sides of the church, with large projecting lights beaming down on the screen, which allows me to have visuals while working on my literacy. Nuri's mom peeks her head in Nuri's bedroom door. Rise and shine, my love. Time to get this lesson. Nuri continues to snore peacefully. Nuri's mom approaches the bed slowly. Come on and get up. But I'm really tired. Do I have to? Yes, you do. Now get your shower and get dressed. Shuffling out of the bed while stretching and wiping her eyes. All right. They ascribe to a pattern, a set of signifying symbols, and are read as Amish by their choices of clothing, hairstyle, and head coverings. And like the Amish, Nuri and her mother must get dressed in church appropriate clothes because, like the Amish culture, Baptists also must dress like Baptists. After getting dressed, they then head to the car to begin their journey. Nuri proceeds to turn on the radio, searching for a station that is playing gospel music and to find one that meets her mom's liking and that teaches the word of the Lord at the same time, which is an example of a literacy Carrie Jewett and Gunther Kress talked about in this quote: image, gaze, gesture, movement, music, speech, and sound effect, as well as pattern, texture, and color. Each of these modes is equally significant for meaning and communication. Nuri's mom turns up the radio. That one is good, thank you, my love. You're welcome. Do you want McDonald's breakfast or Dunkin' Donuts? I'll take Dunkin'. I was hoping you'd say that because I had a coupon. I knew you did, coupon queen. Nuri and her mother go through the drive-thru of Dunkin' Donuts and order their food, both of them scarfing it down before arriving to church. They then arrive to church, making it at exactly 11 a.m. Nuri's mom starts to put her finishing touches of makeup on. Grab our Bibles, baby. Nuri reaches in the back seat. Got them. Do you need your throw? No, I'm okay with my sweater. Thank you, baby. Nuri and her mother then proceed to exiting the car and make their way to the entrance. Nuri opens the door for her and her mother. Here you go. Thanks, love. The ushers meet them as soon as they enter the church, greeting them and commenting on how much Nuri looks like her mother. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Great. Thank you. Would you like a program? Yes, I would. Thank you. The usher looks to Nuri. Good morning, honey. Would you like a program? Nuri looks and smiles, not wanting to grab a program because that meant she would have to take notes in church. Nuri's mom gives her a look that tells Nuri that she better get a program or there would be an issue. Nuri smiles. Good morning, and yes, I will take a program. Here you go, honey. Nuri and her mother simultaneously. Thank you. Nuri and her mom enter the doors where they are greeted by yet another usher who leads them to their seats while the band is playing in the background while the choir sings hymns. After everyone has gotten settled in their seats and the choir has sung their last hymn, the choir then vacates the stage, and the pastor enters the pulpit. And while he is entering, the topic of the sermon is then put on the projectors, which is a new way to learn the Baptist religion, but also very innovative because it allows all generations to learn a new form of literacy, which is technology. Her use of this literacy tool, one that is becoming imperative to mainstream Americans' day to day lives, is mitigated by her religious beliefs and home literacy practices. But, like stated in the article, not everyone who is Baptist and from older generations will agree with the new technologies, but everyone soon will get used to it and will not have as much as a problem with technology as they used to. Good morning. Will everyone please rise and join me in the reading of Psalm 23, verse 3? The whole church stands to their feet at the same time and begins to read the scripture. Once the scripture has been read, everyone sits and proceeds to give their undivided attention to the pastor. Nuri sits close to her mom to get cozy and to acquire some warmth while trying to get out of writing the notes down. But Nuri's mom hands her a pen, hinting that it's time to write notes and absorb the lesson. Nuri then writes everything that the pastor has said, gaining a new and better understanding of the Baptist religion, and while practicing her writing and learning new words at the same time. Church has now ended, and Nuri and her mom travel down the street to her grandmother's house, where all of the family meets after church to discuss the lesson and tutor each other with the lesson if someone did not understand the lesson. And, like stated in the article, heritage literacy shows interdependence between generations as the new generation depends on the old for their intellectual inheritance, and the old depends on the new for their innovations and adaptations, as well as adaptations of literacy tradition. That sure was a good lesson today. Yes, it was. Our pastor knows he sure can preach a good sermon. Did you enjoy it, Nuri? I sure did. I learned some new things and got a better understanding of the book of Psalms, and I was able to refresh my handwriting. Nuri and her family continued to talk about what was learned and what was taught in that day's lesson, while continuing to follow all of the characteristics needed to acquire heritage literacy.